Cantona next to me. Gary Neville looking for his first goal for Manchester United, and what a time to get it!
Welcome back to the Worldwide Reds, a global Manchester United podcast. Manchester United with a big win at Old Trafford, beating Aston Villa 3-1, thanks to a goal from Casemiro, Matheus Cunha, and super sub Benjamin Šeško. It's another massive 3 points for the Reds, and it keeps United firmly in third place in the Premier League. Now 3 points clear of Villa. Let's break it all down, boys. How are we? How's things going? Welcome, Elliot, Jordan, and Tom. How are we, boys? We should be feeling energised and raring to go.
Good. Manchester United winning games does that to you. You can't. It is a weird feeling lately enjoying Manchester United. Now, we know a turn could very well come at some stage, but for now, I wouldn't say it feels like the good old days, but it definitely feels just good. And it's been far too long since I've had that consistent feeling, like going to work on a Monday morning, think, hey, today's going to be okay.
It doesn't even matter getting up at 1 o'clock to watch the game. Like, when you win, it doesn't even matter. Like, it wouldn't even matter if you get to work and it's the shittest day at work. You're just sitting there going, thank fucking God we got 3 points.
Yeah, it is. Tom and I often used to have this conversation about, like, turning up and Dino about a Monday, how it just ruins your Monday. And, like, it's so bad for me. Like, I'll get on the building site and they'll just turn around to me and they go, hey, Swervo, yeah, what's so good about it? Yeah, well, and that's it. We just get on with the day. It's like, it's so good. Elliot, how you been feeling, buddy?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, good. I think it's good to bounce back, I think, after a defeat, right? I think that's probably the big positive I'm taking after a defeat from, the team, to bounce back and beat fourth place Villa. We haven't seen that sort of thing. Usually one defeat would turn into two, would turn to three, would turn to four. And we'd go on a pretty terrible run. So I think the bounce back after a defeat is a big positive for me.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was just, people kept saying it was a strange start to a game. But to me, I was telling Elliot before, I actually went live on TikTok, and I keep meaning to tell you, Jordan, but I kept forgetting to say it to you. I actually went on a live with 2 or 3 Nigerians. A girl named Angel that was actually doing the live. She was from Canada, but
so we've got
Cameroon.
3 Nigerians and a girl called Angel on a live.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going, man, but this is getting worried.
And two of them were Arsenal supporters. And, mate, I tell you what, we're having a blast until I started ripping into these Arsenal supporters, mate, because as you can tell, like, most of the time their chats and stuff like that don't really rate, and this one wasn't really there either, and I was educating them along the way, that's for sure. That's what it's all about.
Did you see the guy on Arsenal Fan TV? I forget the name right there. I can't remember the name. He's been a regular over the years. Older British guy. Goes home and away with Arsenal. And he's going on about celebrating the Max Dowman winner, 16-year-old, but comparing it and getting one up on Wayne Rooney in Manchester United because Max Dowman was younger. But I think Wayne Rooney's goal for Everton against Arsenal back in the day, I remember I was in England at the time, that record was beaten like a couple of weeks after, I think. I think it was James Milner then beat it, and then I think James Vaughan at some stage beat it. And he held the record for quite a while. So I'm not sure why he was going off at Wayne Rooney in terms of trying to get one up on Manchester United because
and from memory, Wayne Rooney's goal was he absolutely ripped one from outside the 18-yard box, wasn't it? Yeah.
My thing is they're comparing.
That was a good goal.
I've seen it quite a bit actually on social media. I don't agree with it, but they're comparing Max Dowman's, being 16 and Wayne Rooney, and I'm like, if he has a quarter of the career of Wayne Rooney, he'd be happy. Like, he's got a fucking long way to go before he's even in the same conversation.
People like to do that now, don't they, Jordan? As soon as a younger fella comes, it'll be like JJ Gabriel when he comes in, hopefully next year.
He's different though. He's different.
Something like that. They'll be comparing him to everyone. You know what I mean? Like,
I got biased towards him.
I just love that when there's always positives happening at other clubs, they're just comparing it to our success. It's like, we're always the attention. in some way, shape, or form, in some topic of conversation. So,
well, that's what I was looking back today, and today's 2 years to the day since the FA Cup winner against Liverpool, the 4-3 in extra time. And you look at the banter we've received off rivals over the years and how it's been a dark period for Manchester United post-Fergie, and we can't hide away from the fact it hasn't been great. But we've won trophies and we've had some moments. I think of that moment when Ahmad scored that. Think of Rashford in Paris. Think of Harry Maguire against Lyon last year. We've had these moments. We've had trophies. Unless you may be Liverpool or City, probably even Arsenal would probably want to be in our position in regards to those moments and success. Like 99% of the fans giving us shit for where Manchester United are would absolutely kill to have what we've had in the last 10 years. And we're not happy with it, and rightfully so. But it just puts it into perspective that 2 years reminded me that Amad Diallo winner against Liverpool was up there as one of my favourite football games of all time.
Now, this is always one of my points when it comes to talking to Arsenal supporters. Like, they get that excited. Anyone would be excited if you're in first spot. But I always say to them, in our darkest period over the past 11 years, we've still won more trophies than Arsenal by five. Well, they won the FA Cup first year Arteta was there. What have they done since? Second doesn't count. You might as well finish third, fourth, fifth. It does not count. It doesn't count.
Thank God you said that, because that's exactly what I was about to say. If you finish second, you don't get fucking anything.
No, there's no
medal.
You don't get a medal. That's it. It's just like, it's crazy how people can't put things in. I think Manchester United fans are pretty good at putting things in perspective.
It goes to what Henri said on the overlap, like last season, right? I think he said something like, the United that everyone's joking about and the lack of success have been in what was it, 3 finals in the last 5 years or something, or 5 finals in the last, and and Arsenal nothing at all. So we still have that. It's in our core DNA, right? That winning mentality. It's part of the club's genetics, and I just don't think that's actually ever going to go away.
In saying all that Diamond goal, I think that's the title for Arsenal. I think that has won it for them. Well, with City dropping points an hour or two later, I do think Arsenal now. You always had that feeling that they'll slip up and City will just go on this run. But at the end of the day, City dropped more points than Arsenal. That's why they're below them in the ladder. And, I do think Arsenal now, fair play to them. How have they done it? We agree or disagree, like it or not like it. I think they have won it now.
Fair play to everyone that said Arsenal are going to win. I look like an absolute idiot by saying they're going to bottle it. Because I've said from the start they're going to bottle it, but they're way too in front now to lose. And I look like a fucking idiot.
No, you don't.
They've still got to play City twice, though, right? They've got them in the Carabao Cup, and they've still got to play them in the league.
But
before we go on, Jordan, let me give me a few shout outs before we carry on. I've got Bloodhound on TikTok. He's our mate from Melbourne. He says, hi, everyone, on TikTok. I've got me African mate. Here he is here. Awesome FC. Hi, Worldwide Reds. He was the man. I've got Rain here. Hi, guys. Or guys, hi. And she's put in there, cool, hi. And I've got another one from Jaden, hi, as well. So welcome, everyone, to the show. If it's your first time, please subscribe. Please do whatever you need to do on TikTok and everything like that. Press the screen and make us famous one day. All right, let's get on. You were saying, Jordan, you think you look like an ass. That's every show. Don't worry.
Oh, shit, yeah, it is. It's getting worse, though. That's the problem. We're supposed to improve at this. I think Tom's right. I think Arsenal got it now. I know they're going to play City in the Carabao Cup. I think City will beat them in that. But I think City will beat them when they verse them. But in terms of Arsenal in the run-in, what are they now? Is it 8 points clear?
Yeah, well, there's a game. City have got a game in hand. Most people got a game in hand as well.
I think that they'll be 6 clear of if City win their game in hand. I think they're a 6-point lead.
Yeah. And then bloody Liverpool stuffed it up by not beating Spurs. Like, mate.
I don't know if I enjoyed that Spurs equaliser or not, because I'm so invested in Spurs in their relegation.
So am I. Yeah.
So I was happy Liverpool dropped points, but I was thinking that's a real bonus for Spurs. That's a big point, because that's one you can definitely guarantee as a guaranteed loss. So that's a point they weren't expecting. So I'm not sure how I reacted to that goal.
I think the game this weekend's do or die for Spurs. They have Forest, and I think if they beat Forest, they go, 3 points clear of the drop zone. If West Ham don't win, and I just think that's whoever loses that to me, he's going down.
Yeah.
That's a big game.
Mate, I watched the Arsenal game. I was watching that game, and
Sydney FC just conceded. Sorry.
Talking Premier League, you're worried about Sydney FC? Are you kidding? What do you call it? Yeah, that Arsenal game, like far out, man. Pickford and Tom and I have got a real hatred towards Pickford, and I'll tell you what. After watching him come out for that cross, I've got even more of a hatred for him, because if that was one of our keepers, mate, he would have been absolutely hammered in the media by a mile. It was such a poor decision. It was horrific. It was so bad. And then he's decided to go up for the corner as well to try and make up for it. Like, you'll never go. I don't know why keepers go up for him, honest to God. And credit to that 16-year-old man. He ripped them up in that to score that goal.
Oh, my God, that turn on the inside.
It
he
was
nearly broke my ankles when I was sitting on the lounge.
It was that good, eh?
I nearly slipped over. I was sitting down on the lounge.
Yeah.
I was like,
to have the confidence to do that, because he had a player on the inside of him as well. And even when it became 1v1, 1v2, he could have just passed. But mate, he took it on and then rolled it in. He should have went to the line and headed it in.
It sounds crazy to say it, but when they versed Macclesfield and we, I believe we watched that game together, Adam, after the Sydney FC ML victory game. I rewatched it that afternoon at home, and even just his decision making in that game as a 16-year-old, like, he's going to be good. Like, he will be if he keeps going the way he's going.
Yeah. Mate, I've just got to stop everyone here for a sec. I've just had Warp Drive. Everyone who's on TikTok, go follow Warp Drive. He's just given us a Galaxy. Apparently a Galaxy's one of the biggest things you can receive on TikTok. We've just got one from Warp Drive. So thank you, mate. He's a collector guy. So if anyone wants to go to, I think there's CollectorCon or whatever the collector shows are on at the moment. There was one in Sydney last weekend. Collect Fest. So Warp Drive are all at these Collect Fests. So they do your Pokemon, they do all your collector dolls, everything like that. They do all the cards, everything like that, to do grading and everything. Warp Drive, he's actually sending my nieces a whole heap of Pokemon stuff. So if anyone's looking to get into the collector game, go follow Warp Drive. Absolute top guys down there. Elliot, I want to get him on the show. So when you're all back from England and everything like that.
Have you seen how much Max Doman's cards are going?
Oh.
Mate, Tom's starting to get into just quietly. Tom's starting to get into a bit of the cards and stuff like that. So we may have to get him right into it. I might send him
I wouldn't go that far. I've got 2 or 3.
Yeah, but I might send you a little Manchester United team set. I'll send you a Manchester United team set.
I'm like with you, Adrian. I'm like Adam that I have zero. You could give me a signed Messi 1-of-1 uniform. I've got no interest.
Yes,
it's just Manchester United. Like, it's just it is what it is there. But
I'll put a little tops team set together for you.
Well, let me know if you come across that 1-of-1 signed Messi card ever, Tom. There's some interest over
here. Make sure you put a nice figure on it, Tom. I've got awesome FC in the comments. Rival teams are scared. They don't want United to be back in top form. Whenever United picks up, it's game over. Yeah, mate. Look, it's like we were chatting on the weekend. The first half, we'll get into United. The first half of the weekend, it was a poor first half. It was boring. In saying that, I didn't think it was too poor. I just thought it was boring. Both teams were loose passes everywhere. But in saying that, I was not surprised because our first half is generally like that anyway. So it's like we come out, we're still on holidays as usual, only playing in the Premier League. So I think for me, it's a case of, I don't know if it's match fitness or match awareness. I don't know. What are your thoughts, boys?
Ranking games is actually doing the opposite of what you'd expect. I think you can't build like momentum. Like when you're winning and you're doing well and you're getting confident, you want to be playing quite frequently. And I just think these 10-game 2-week breaks and 10-day breaks and 2-week breaks and stuff is just it's hard to build a bit of consistency. I think we've done well considering, but we're off for like another 20 days coming up for like the
this is bad.
The international break, which just concerns me a little bit. And when you watch the game, and I watched it on replay, and you could see there was a lack of shape in like across the back four at times, and in the midfield at times where there was some large pockets of space for Villa to, I guess, create an attack into. So, and I think that has just come from the lack of consistency of playing games. I'm not sure if you fellas agree.
Yeah, it didn't look like we had sharpness, in my opinion, in the first half. There was no match sharpness. There was no... I don't know. I just feel like you're right. You're pretty much spot on where we're just slow. What was it? We didn't have that drive to us, which comes with playing games constantly. Most people say we played too many games a season. I feel like this season we're not playing enough.
Tom?
Yeah, no, I think the same, but I also think pretty much every other club, even Arsenal fans, even when Manchester United will win in trebles and doubles, we feel the same. I think it's a feeling that every single club has that, oh God, we start slow, like Ferguson used to say, like his team talks are just about don't concede in the first 5 minutes. What they do, go concede in the first 5 minutes. I think everyone sort of does have that feeling when you win games at the 90th minute or when the whistle goes and you've won the game, you can forget about it and you go, oh, geez, okay, we'll try and fix that next week. It only really becomes a problem when you're not picking up points. So for now, we can just say, okay, at least we're sort of fixing the issue. But, yeah, I don't read too much. Like, I think everyone's right, and I agree with that we're just not playing the games, and I think that's the importance of European football. It'll give everyone minutes. It'll give the manager, whoever that is, time to change players and change systems and sort of get familiarity on that aspect. But I don't think it's, and I know no one's saying this, but I don't think it's a huge issue. I do think Liverpool fans at the moment are saying, why aren't we starting like this? Chelsea fans are saying the same thing. And then next week you go and score in the second minute. It's not really a debate, but that's just your opinion has just changed simply because you kicked the ball between the goal. Nothing in regards to the actual performance itself. So I do think, like everyone, you add European football to that. That helps the manager, that helps the players, that helps the fans. It just helps everybody. It's much needed, especially in our situation.
Well, I agree there, Tom, as well, because my most important thing is getting 3 points. Like, the performance can come with that later. Performances matter to me if you lose, but the most important thing to me is they get 3 points. I don't care how they do it. I don't care if they sit 11 behind the ball and get one counter-attack and score. Especially this season alone, I want them to get as many points as possible to push up.
Just what we'll discuss in 5 minutes
ago. We need Champions League.
What we'll discuss in 5 minutes ago. Look at the top of the league.
Yeah.
You think they care?
Exactly.
But that's the whole thing with Arsenal fans. You're 100% right there, Tom. They don't care. They don't care how they're playing football. They just care about being at the top of the league, because every time you go to talk to people like, for example, like the boys that are in I mean, George knows a fair bit, so does Aaron, they know a fair bit. But they don't get up like us and watch games at 1 a.m, 2 a.m, or anything like that. They're like 20-minute highlight fans. You know what I mean? And that's like most. I mean, around the world, it's a lot different. But
that's a complete generation thing. I think now, you talk to younger fans, and it's simply 90 seconds, let alone 90 minutes, in terms of their attention span. It is just not there. And I do think, there's fans. I'm sure they're hardcore fans, and they love the club. And it's not to say anyone's love is sort of deeper than anyone else's, but they just consume football very differently to what we do. And it's not to say one's better or worse. We would like to think ours is technically better if we had to rank them. But, it's just completely different. And, we can't change. We all sit here and say, no, I'm not going to set the alarm. I've got better things to do. I've got more important things to worry about tomorrow. No, we're going to set the alarm. We're going to get up because it's just ingrained in us.
Yeah, I can't
that
help
to me
it.
is an issue though. That right there, Tom, is people watching a 90-second highlight reel, or whether it be a 2-minute highlight reel, and then judging the players based on the highlights I've just seen. Like if you watch the highlight reel from the game on the weekend,
regardless of football, but that's anything in life in society. That's
we
just
did see it a lot
a
too.
wider issue.
You imagine watching the 20-minute highlight reel of United's first half. There wouldn't have been. I think there was one shot on goal. It was Ahmed's or something like that. There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. But you know what? Talking about that first half, what I do enjoy, and I'll talk about this a fair bit, is when players take on players that 1v1. Cunha's doing it a lot now, man. He's so confident on the ball. His first instinct is to just go forward. And I love when he just tries to rip that player down the sideline, regardless whether he loses the ball or not. And when he does lose the ball, there's always seems to be someone there now. And Jordan, you talk about this really well, about the structure of if we lose the player, Cunha will chase back, but there's always someone there to pick up that loose ball or make that next tackle or something like that. We always talk about that second ball whenever there's a long pass, win that second ball. Or it's totally on the attack or something like that. Defensively, it's working all the time now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's one of the most overlooked stats in football, and I'm not really a stats guy, but second balls. If you win the second ball, you'll win a game because it means you got the second phase of the play every single time. And that's where I think a 4-3-3 is perfect, but I've already broke that down too many times.
It is though how simple football is in regards to we might touch on it later in regards to Chelsea and the stupid huddle and the referee sort of thing. But in terms of that instruction before a game or a manager's team talk, we've all played football, okay, not at the level at Old Trafford sort of thing, but once you cross that line of the ball's at your feet and someone's moving there, you're not thinking what the manager said and we're trying to do this. The game is about instinct and the game is just played in front of you. And that's what sort of separates sort of great teams to good teams to average teams. And you look at Matheus Cunha this season since he's arrived at Manchester United, we've had many debates over the last couple of months about him being frustrated. And look, I sense the frustration. I share the frustration, but he's a player for me and it's all dependent on the result. I think if we lose, those frustrations are highlighted and they're sort of really aired. When we win, everything sort of the pros come out in Matheus Cunha's game. But I wouldn't say he's been brilliant because Manchester United haven't been brilliant this season. But I think he's been very good this year, and it's highlighted when we win. As I said, when we don't get the points, the frustrations are aired. But I always go back to that first performance of the season at home to Arsenal. We lost. I'm telling you. Not certain of many things, but I'm telling you, if we had a different goalkeeper in goals that day and we don't lose 1-0, and maybe I think we probably hit the post 3 or 4 times that game from memory. Yep. One of those go in and we have Lamens in goals and we win that game 1 or 2-0. I'm telling you, we talk about Ronaldo's debut, Wayne Rooney's debut. You'd be looking at Matheus Cunha's performance that day and what he did in a red shirt. You'd be talking one of the great Old Trafford debuts. It was unreal what he did. We lost. We lost to Arsenal. It's forgotten about. And I think he's. I wouldn't say brilliant. I'm very happy with what I've seen from Cunha this year. I get the frustrations, of course, that's going to come. And no player frustrates me more than Bruno Fernandes. And here we are saying we're going to go into how brilliant Bruno Fernandes is. I think that's an element of being a great player. You're going to have those sort of cons to your game. But I think Cunha, he's been very good and so far, touch wood, worthy of the 10 shirt.
Ellie, I've got a question for you. Yeah, if you look at United, the way they played on Monday morning for us, Sunday there. I was talking about like Cunha whipping crosses in and stuff like that. Do you think Mbeumo was out of position a lot? Because we started with Šeško on the bench and Mbeumo was dropping in a lot. Do you think like we should have maybe started Šeško, or were you happy with Mbeumo starting?
I think there's games where it works for Šeško to start versus Mbeumo, but I actually don't think Mbeumo's always started for us. I don't think he's not started this season. Maybe one game under Amarin. If you look at, I guess, the centre back pairing, and I think maybe Tom mentioned this earlier in the season, I think, or Jordan, maybe. The centre-back pairing of Mings and Konza, right? Big lads. Yes, Mbeumo was probably out of position, but he's run those two ragged, right? And then when you introduce Šeško into the game later on, those two big, powerful centre-backs are probably a little bit gassed after, I guess marking a quicker player whose movement off the ball varies across the whole, back line. In that sort of game, I think he's the right person to start. Where Šeško is good to start is if you're playing against maybe a Man City or an Arsenal and you're looking to maybe cut the midfield out and play from the back and hit him and flick ons, or him bringing that ball down and then looking at those runners coming off him. I don't disagree with Carrick in that sense, because then we've got, Šeško's proven week in, week out that when he comes off the bench, he'll make an impact and he'll score. And that's probably where he feels confident as well, because that's where he's currently making that biggest impact. So I don't necessarily disagree. I think what I do miss is under Amarin, where I do miss Mbeumo playing off that right-hand side. I haven't really seen him play off that right-hand side under Carrick, and that's where we've seen him dominant and where we've seen him at his best. So he is out of position a little bit, playing as that 9. But when you look at it, it's so fluid, that front 3. You look at sometimes Ahmad's in that 9 position as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes Cunha's in that 9 position. Like, it's very fluid. It works in some games, but not in others. I still think that will be shored up a little bit running into next season, and I do think that there'll probably be additions to that front 3 from a squad perspective, because when you look at the wingers off the bench, we don't really have anyone that can come on and play off the left-hand side as a winger, which is probably maybe our weakest point of attack right now. Whereas when you've got Rashford, when you've had Martial in the past, that left-hand side was such a dominant way of attack from us that we're not really attacking down there anymore. So,
a question I'll throw to 21. Sorry, Adam, but just on Mbeumo and just the profile of whether it be Mbeumo, him specifically, or just that right wing position, whether it be at Manchester United or Liverpool, I always find it hard to judge evaluate what I'm actually watching from a right winger, because it seems the position, and you could make the case on the left, and probably exactly you can have the same debate, but my visual, which I have in my head, is just on the right. It seems the position, and it seems a group of players currently in the modern game where am I watching them as a player, or am I just watching them simply as the output? Are they the main sort of attacking weapon? And that's what I get the feeling on Mbeumo is like almost tasked with being our goal threat, being our danger man, being the one to go hurt the opposition. And I think he's great at that. But then I watch him as a player and I think, okay, he's good, but is he that good? Is he lacking a little bit in his game in regards to his build-up play, his link-up play? Could he be better? Is he actually good at it? I'm not sure. And I just sort of compare that to Mohamed Salah, who you look at his output over the years from that position, and it is world-class. And I hate to say that, but it's undeniable what he's done. But then I watch him with the ball in a right-wing position, and I think he looks Sunday League. So I'm just thinking, well, what are we judging from that right winger? So there with Elliot talking about Mbeumo wanting to see on the right, I agree. I just don't know what I'm looking for on the right from Mbeumo. Is he that good out there, do you think? Or do you think he's just there, standing there until an opportunity arises where he can dart into the box and make something happen?
Well, what did he get last year? 19 goals from Brentford in the league.
But do you think he's like sort of? There's many.
I don't think he plays that 9 position properly. To be honest with you, I don't believe he plays. But it frustrates me that he drops back into the midfield a lot.
But if we take away his goals, do we think? And I'm not criticising him. I really like him, and I think he's good. But do we think he's that good of a player? Again, I'm not criticising him, but really take away the goals, and that's obviously part of the game and a very important part of the game. What do we actually think of Mbeumo as a footballer?
At times, I think of him as sort of like a He holds the ball up well, I think. I find him a little bit of a, I don't know, this might be a left field contrast, but I find him a little like when Mark Viduka, probably Elliot and Jordan never watched much of Mark Viduka, but he was always that, you watched a bit, yeah, where he was that big man up front. And obviously Cunha's not as tall as Viduka or anything like that, but they can play him in as a bit of a target man. I find him a little bit of a target man. But the difference I see between like a bit of a Viduka and him is I don't remember Viduka dropping so far in to defend. It just, and I know the game's a lot different these days as well, but in Bumo, he drops way too deep if he's going to play in that 9 position.
Is that not the difference between a player that's going to score you 15 goals and a player that's going to score you 30 goals? The player that's going to score you 30 goals a season, like your Viduka, the clinical out-and-out number 9s, they're not thinking about defending. They're thinking about where can I be to score.
That's my whole point. Yeah.
They don't care about dropping into the midfield to make an extra number. They're thinking, let me get one-on-one with the last defender so when we get the ball in transition, I'm through.
Yeah.
Like they're already thinking about where their next goal is going to come from, where I don't think Brian Obama does that at all.
And it's interesting because you think of that and you think of that person who scores you 25, 30 goals and you almost allow them that sort of acceptance to not go defend, whether it be Salah, Cristiano Ronaldo, or Erling Haaland. Okay, a manager or players can accept that play, not really tracking back and defending too much. And you sort of define that as a luxury player. It's a common thing and it's accepted, and Manchester United can have him. Manchester United's luxury player, I think, is kind of Bruno Fernandes. Now, Bruno Fernandes does track back. He does do that work, but he is that one who we will just let him go and do what he wants for 10 minutes throughout a game. And usually you don't have that luxury player in central midfield, whether it be the 10 or whatever part of the midfield you want to define him at. Usually that luxury player is a striker or a winger, not really that central midfielder. And I think it's a weird little dynamic. I don't think you can have two people sort of occupying that role within a team, in a team that's not winning titles.
Yeah, that's one thing that made Kevin De Bruyne for Manchester City so good for that system is he was a luxury player in terms of when he's on the ball, but he's so overlooked for his defensive work rate. He almost played as like a right-sided 8, like almost like a Steven Gerrard role where he's just up and down. And he's always looked at for his ability on the ball, but Bruno's not. He does track back, but he doesn't stay in the same channel. Does that make sense? Like he goes where he wants.
Elliot?
I think Bruno's good on the half turn running at players, really. Yes, you've seen him make some decent movements, sort of in behind the striker, and you don't need to be good at movement for Bruno Fernandes to find you and put you in one-on-one with the keeper. And I think he scored a couple of goals like in positions like that under Carrick, but under Amarin, when he's playing on that right-hand side, he likes it at the half-point turn and cutting in on his left-hand side, which I think is probably where he was the most dominant at Brentford and was probably why we purchased him in the first place. But I guess there are players that probably don't 100% have the profile that fits the system that it looks like Carrick's trying to play. They don't really like. Bremo is an inverted winger, really. He's not a wide winger. He's inverted and he'll cut in. And Cunha is not a winger either, but that's where he seems to be playing more. He's playing more as an inverted winger, but to be honest, he's more of a 10 or even a 9.5.
But with Cunha, though, he has learnt the wing position very well, like especially last game.
Yeah, he has, but he's got that pull to goal, right? He's not. It's that Brazilian, isn't it? He's not beating players, and going and whipping the ball in front with his left foot or whipping the ball in from out wide. He's cutting in. I see him cutting in more and probably playing those passes on the corner of the 18-yard box. But I just think it just shows it just shows where we're at as a team right now from like where we've brought in a different manager, but the style of play that we were playing before Carrick was so unique and that we need a specific.
I think that's
player.
the thing, Elliot, which the way you've described what Mbeumo brings to a team, what Cunha brings to a team, and what they're tasked with doing and what they want to do and what they're good and bad at doing. We often forget in regards to the specifics of these players brought in, whether they perform perfectly under Ruben Amorim or not, or whoever should have been playing in those sort of inside 10 positions or not. Really, the way I view it, Cunha and Mbeumo, whether I prefer one here or one there, really their profile of player is suited to that inside 10 position, a little bit of both, where they can come in, create, score goals, and have the ability to go wide. Where now we're playing them on a bit of paper at the start of the game as wingers. Are they wingers compared to what Manchester United really define as a winger? That they're simply not. And that's not to say they can't be great out there or can't contribute out there. But that is where we are currently a team. We're having this debate now. Oh, does he really fit there? Should he play here? We're having that debate because we brought players in for a system. We now have sacked the manager. We've brought in a new manager who plays a different system. And it's all these moving parts which we've seem to have for many of these years. So I think it's not to say let's sell Cunha and Mbeumo in the off-season, but you're going to have to bring in wingers. How does that affect their position in the team? What does Carrick want or what does the new manager want? It's not all going to be, okay, Mbeumo and Cunha just going to kick on next season and sort of grow in a Manchester United shirt. It's going to be a very different second season for them because I think Manchester United will go and get someone in that wide area and suddenly there's one less spot. Suddenly you got an unhappy player on the bench. How does Michael Carrick or the new manager sort of manage that? And so it's good for now. And as I said, I think both have been very good signings. And long may that continue. But it's going to be very interesting next year.
I think a perfect example of what you've both been talking about is Cunha's goal against Aston Villa, where Bruno Fernandes slips that pass through, which we haven't touched on it yet, but holy fuck, that's a good pass, man.
Yeah.
Just the defenders the way he does.
I've got Isaac on TikTok here. He was one of the fellas on the pods. Very good with the chat, the Manchester United chat. He says, hello, guys. He said, Mbeumo's problem is Ahmed. And we have spoken about that before, like when they were under Ruben and they were both on the right-hand side there. And he said, Ahmed's got something extra, defending well or better, and which is true. Like, we haven't seen the best out of those two since probably Carrick's come in. But I think Mbeumo's probably adapted a lot easier than Ahmed. Do you reckon? I think he's adapted.
Like they're both left-footed playing on the right-hand side. They both want to cut inside.
Yeah.
So when you play at number 9, and solo 9 by himself, like we're playing with Mbeumo, and you play Ahmed on the right, Mbeumo's always going to drift to that right-hand side. So when he gets the ball, he can take it into his left-hand side so he can curl the ball.
Yeah.
So therefore, he's standing in the actual channel of Ahmed. Like, it's just to me, it's like playing. Well, it's playing two left footers that want to do the same thing in the same team. So
yeah, you actually see. You make a great point there, Jordan. You actually see at times, Mbeumo, Ahmad, and Delot get caught down that right-hand side. And it's, you know what, it's not spoken about that often. And you'll see the three of them get caught in that right-hand side, right-hand channel of the 18-yard box. And then at times you think to yourself, how are you going to go? And then we end up having to rotate the ball so much more. And then Bruno ends up coming across as well, and he ends up getting us out. Or it goes back into Casemiro or back into Yoro at the moment. Yeah, that could be that's a little bit probably an issue that Carrick probably has to break down and probably work out.
I said from the start of Carrick coming in, though, you can't play Amad Diallo and Brian Mbeumo on the same team. It's different under Amorim because they had it was a different system where Amad could be wider, but they still clashed. As much as they linked up well, they both want to do the exact same thing. So when one makes that run, even if the other one's got the ball and wants to come inside, Brian Mbeumo is not running on the outside or going down to his right-hand side. He's always going to want to get the ball on the left because they're both so heavily left-footed. So it creates then defenders coming in to close the space. It becomes easy to read.
But in saying that, like we talk about the right-hand side, you look at United's left-hand side. Luke Shaw isn't getting deep as much at the moment. He hasn't been getting down into that bottom left-hand side much lately. It's only when we start walking the ball, probably when we're we won all on the weekend. Luke Shaw started getting a little bit higher. but you don't see Luke Shaw getting that high anymore. Whereas Delay will still get high.
Luke Shaw will get injured doing that run anyway.
I think that's the thing with Luke Shaw at the moment. It's not to make light of the situation around him, and it feels like we've been having the same Luke Shaw discussion for the last 10 years, and he sort of stays around and he has a good 6 months, and then you miss him for 6 months. From what I've seen, and maybe a small sample size, let's just say the Michael Carrick era so far. So let's say the last 6 weeks at Manchester. Luke Shaw for me, and who knows, he goes through these spells and then he's going to look like Gilberto Carlos in a month's time, but he kind of looks like he's maybe slowing down now. I can just see he's. And then look, I thought that in 2017. And then he was great in the next year. Then I thought that in 2020, or whenever those years sort of were. So he's proven me wrong before. It just feels like, I've said this before, when you get older, and a huge part of experience is not wanting to go forward, knowing that when 9 times out of 10 you're not going to score when you go forward. Otherwise, the games would be 90 to 89 in regards to a score. You don't go forward because you don't want to go back. So it's easier for a fullback just to say, hey, look, I'll stay here and no damage done. And that's where I think Luke Shaw is at the moment. He's saying, look, I can do a 60-yard sprint and nothing come of it, but then I've got to sprint 80 back, or I'll just stay here and all is well. And I think that's where Luke Shaw currently is physically.
I think, though, with the two wingers we have, say if you're going to put Cunha on the left and Brian or Ahmad on the right, you need to have a player to overlap. It's crucial to their way they play, because it takes a defender out wide and doesn't always open the channel to come inside.
Rashford's best football at United was always with Luke Shaw going.
And every time Luke Shaw went around him,
every
time Luke Shaw went around him, where did Rashford go? Straight to goal.
Yeah.
Because it creates that pocket and that little channel for them to attack. If you don't have that overlap, it's just wasted space behind them. And the defender can go, well, you're left-footed, you're coming on your left. It's pretty much common sense.
And that run can happen on the right-hand side, right? Like Dallo, we've seen him make those runs in the past, but because, like Adam mentioned before, Ahmad and Bremo are occupying that space on the right-hand side, Dallo is not able to make that run. You're going to only a natural right footer on that side of the field is going to make that run. Like you said, Jordan, a natural left footer isn't, right? Same with Shaw. Shaw's made that run for years with Rashford because he's a natural left footer. There needs to be a way that we can create that space to make those runs, because Dallo has whipped some great balls into the box when he gets into those positions. Credit where credit's due. In my opinion, I think we're growing under Carrick and evolving into next season. I do think that Ahmad, I can't see him being a sure thing in a starting 11 sort of, moving forward from my perspective, I think.
Yeah. I've got a few comments here. I'll just we've got a new fella in here. Dan from Devonport. He's from Brunbury in England, near Coventry. Welcome to the chat, buddy. He's got a few things here, a few little things, a bit off topic, but it's fine. So Jim said at the Chinese F1 race, he said Carrick is doing a great job. Definitely, we'll probably get on to that soon. I've got Denny on TikTok. He's got here, Dorgu will be back soon. Then watch United come together. Look, Dorgu done a great job when he was here, but does he fall back into on that left-hand side where Cunha is? Because it is a big question. Like, once Dorgu comes in, he's definitely not going to come in where Luke Shaw is. So Luke Shaw's doing a great job. And we saw Dorgu whenever he defended under Ruben Amorim. He was a bit of a loose cannon defensively.
Gives you some pace off the bench.
Yeah, definitely.
Gives you a left-footed player to play on the left side. It doesn't.
What, do you think he'll come into left back? You think he'll come into left back? No. There's no chance he will. No.
We'll drop down the ladder if that happens.
Yeah, there's no way.
It will. He might come good as a left back over time, but he's not mature enough defensively. He dives into tackles square. When you're playing as a left back for Manchester United and you're versing someone like, imagine him against Jeremy Doku. You get turned inside out, upside down, and sent back to the sheds because he dives in. He's just got to. He'll learn. He's only young, but his best times at Manchester United so far have been playing on the wing, where you can be a bit irrational and you can get out there and you can just have a go at them. You can run at them. You can kick it down the line and chase it, and the crowd's going to cheer you on. Things like that. You can't do that when you're playing when you're trying to 1v1 defend someone.
What was the young fella that? What was the young fella that we signed? The 18-year-old. He's playing in the 21s.
Leon.
Leon. Mate, have you guys seen him playing lately?
Yeah,
I watched him on the weekend. Seriously, man. Mate, he is quality. Mate, he is improved out of sight.
Is he from Paraguay? Is he from Paraguay?
Yeah, Paraguay.
Yeah.
The first couple of times I saw him play was in the reserves. And Adam, you've seen him more recently, so I'll be out of your judgment of him. He was the Paraguayan Patrick Dorgu. Like, he just reminded me of Dorgu 100%. That's an under-21s football, and it's obviously different. Not to say he's obviously going to improve. But when I watched him, and it was at a time where Dorgu was really struggling, Luke Shaw was really struggling, Manchester United's wide areas under Ruben Amorim was struggling, we're saying, throw this kid in. And I was thinking, I don't see too much from him. But Adam, if you've seen him play recently,
on the weekend, I watched him on the weekend, and mate, he was just getting up and down the wing. He was whipping crosses in, and they were all pinpoint crosses. He was just getting them into good. Oh, mate, his pace is. It looks so fit. He looks like Ellie and I were talking about Lenny Euro putting on weight and everything like that. He looks the same. So, everyone's talking about JJ Gabriel and blokes like him because you know what our owners are like. Sometimes they're going to be the biggest tight asses when it comes to buying players in certain windows. I reckon he's one player that may come into the first team next year and get maybe regular minutes because he's bulked up a bit, and he will go. Also, he'll go down the left channel, whip a nice cross in, and in the 21s, generally in the 21s, they're not getting through to that back post and stuff like that. So balls are flying past, but he also goes direct. He also cuts inside, goes direct to the half circle on the edge of the 18-yard, and he'll hit a shot. Players sit off him. It's really. I know. Look, the Premier League's different than the 21s or whatever, but he's confident enough to make those moves compared to, like you said, Tom, when he first came in at that 21s and stuff like that. So United's really doing really well in the youth. They're doing well in the men's and the women. It's just great to see.
You know what'll be with the Leon as well. He'll probably make Paraguay's World Cup team, so he'll get some minutes and some, I guess, experience in the World Cup as well. Paraguay not someone that will qualify from their group, but still senior football and stuff like that. Like, you'll see him improve there, and he'll probably come back with a bit of a spring in his step and do a decent camp before the season starts next year.
Do you think they'll loan him out though with Harry Mass coming back?
I don't know. Or would you just sell Harry Mass?
I think it's a debate for another, and it's a really good debate to have in regards to the youth setup.
It's an overloaded position.
Yeah.
My money suggests, and who knows, flip a coin next week. I'll say it's Leon who's more likely to exit. I think Hamas with his loans and with one or two injuries sort of thing, and I just think the situation, what we've seen so far, I think he's an asset. Man United will look to just move on for a couple of million. I don't see, and look, I love any player come through the youth system and have a career at Manchester United. But the reality is, you got to let some go. My guess at the moment is I don't see Hamas as a Manchester United left back winning a Premier League title in 2 years' time.
Yeah,
not that I see Leon doing that as well, but I think they're the discussions the club need to start having if we want to get to that level.
What was my question the other week? Do you see Michael Carrick winning the Premier League?
You can have it across the pitch. Those debates, of course.
All right, let's move on to the second half. Right? So in that second half, for me, within that first 5 minutes, I could see in that second half that we were going somewhere. But I think in the first 5 minutes of that game, we had 3 shots on goal within the first 5 minutes of that game, second half. And I was on that pod, and they're going, how can you already see United's they're pressing in the first 5? Mate, you can tell the energy. The energy was so upbeat in that second half. And then we score that goal. And then it was the same again. We sat off when we scored the goal. It was just, and I don't know about you blokes, but when they did score that goal, when Buckley scored that goal, was there a handball in that? Because we certainly didn't get to see it. I don't know. It was just quick reaction for me.
I was waiting for the replay of that handball sort of thing. I was saying, this couldn't say this. What I do think, again, I really never saw the replay of it, so I don't know if it was or it wasn't. My thinking was there was maybe, I wouldn't define it as a phase, but the play went on a little bit and it was kind of not that phase, so it didn't really impact or affect the action of the goal. So that's why they never really went back to it. But I do agree. My first instinct, I thought, oh, they've stopped there. That's a handball. No, they've played on. Let's go back to it. But I think the ball went back out the box, then back in, and therefore it's technically a different phase.
I actually didn't have a problem with the player being in that position. I didn't have a problem with the player being in that position because I would have been filthy if it was United in that position. And he's tried to get out the way.
Also,
he wasn't.
You look at Šeško's goal, and again, they're saying that Delo's not offside, but if it was Champions League final and your frustration, you'd be saying he's offside, he's in the keeper's line of it. Yeah. It's a very similar sort of thing.
Yeah, it was.
I think Ross Barkley took that goal very well for Villa, by the way. I think his left foot too. I thought that was a very, very difficult goal. And he made it look very easy.
Yeah. I've got Pluck Off in the comments.
Welcome back.
Jordan's mate. He says, hello, gentlemen. And we've been chatting quite often, Pluck Off and I. And, mate, he's a man of a lot of knowledge, that's for sure. The second half was so much better. You can tell we have no match rhythm, though. We did speak about that earlier in the pod, buddy. But, yeah, the second half, it was good. And, look, I said to the boys before we started, or even at the beginning of the show, about Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro and Šeško. I want to talk about Casemiro first, man. Far out. This guy, honest to God. He scored, 5? There's been 5 assists from Bruno now on Casemiro. But as from an opposition's point of view, how don't they pick up on that corner? I don't get it. I don't get how they don't pick up on that corner because he's actually scored over the past few seasons. He's scored off that a few times. I just don't. It's such a good goal. The accuracy on that header, the glancing header, as we used to call it in those days, in my day, is just pinpoint. It's so good to see. It's so good to see.
Piece manager. It's a new set piece manager. He's doing a great job.
Was it 20K goals?
Isn't it the same set? It's actually Amarin's set. It's Amarin's set piece coach. He stayed. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Carrick said in his post-match conference, he said, Johnny's been working on set pieces with the boys in training and stuff.
Because Amarin's set piece coach stayed. He did. He was the only one out of the whole team that stayed. Yeah. Yeah. He was the only one that stayed.
The thing with Casemiro compared to a lot of other players when he's in the box is his drive to actually win the ball. Like, he is full throttle to get his head on that ball.
I've spoken about this before, Jordan. His urgency to go and win a header or score a goal. And I was even talking about last season. He never stops running. He's just got that old school mentality. The ball is never dead. The ball is never dead. You always attack the ball. Yep. You keep going forward. I've got a thing up here. I think it's in. I'll add this now while we're talking about that. I was reading these stats here. Goals scored 7, first place. Forward passes. This is the stat I love. 455 passes forward. I always talk about there's not enough in our game these days, and at any level. Coaches always tell our players, play safety first. In my team, I want a player that plays forward all the time. And 455 passes first in his position, mate, I'll take that all day. I'll take it all day. Final third passes completed, 254, fourth place. Total tackles, 67, first place. Interceptions, 23 at third place. That's a player I want. Now, the question Pluckoff's just put to me out of you guys, and this is a serious question because I know we singing the song at the moment for Casemiro to stay. Would you take him for that one more year? Would you take him? Seriously, would you take him for that one more year?
You cast your mind back to Erik ten Hag when we lost 4-0 to Brentford. We lost first 2 games this season. You lose 4-0 away at Brentford. And then next day, 12 hours later, Casemiro signed for Manchester United pretty much. And, okay, you celebrate that in regards, okay, this is a great player. But we all had the debates and valid debates at the time. Why? One, is this good business? But also, secondly, we're all saying, why is Casemiro joining? Is he at the end of his career where he knows he's not going to play at Real Madrid, he's coming for one final payday? What is that going to look like? How are we going to view Casemiro in 6 months' time, in a year's time, in 2 years' time? It was a question, it was a debate, it was a valid discussion amongst Manchester United fans. And regardless of goals or assists or pass completion, all these things, the reason we love Casemiro in the good times or even bad times are those intangibles, are those little things. And it's off the field is the way he represents Manchester United. On the field, those little things, whether it be going 100% to get his head on a ball, those little things, you can't really measure that. And that is why Casemiro has sort of earned his place or earned the respect of Manchester United fans, simply because we had that question of him. God, Real Madrid player coming towards, we thought years ago, at the end of his career. Why is he coming? Is he just coming for money? We've seen this before. We've seen this with Di Maria. We've seen this with Alexis Sanchez. We've been burned before. What's Casemiro going to deliver in a Man United shirt? And yes, he's delivered performances. He's delivered big moments. He's delivered good football. But the reason we're having this debate and why we love him, because even when it goes bad, you don't really question Casemiro's. Remember when it went bad under Alexis Sanchez or Di Maria? They're not putting the effort in. Well, why are they here? We've never had that with Casemiro. And it's just those little things. And anyone now having a discussion, which we're going to have now, would you keep him on for another season? I think would be unanimous amongst the fan base at the moment, or pretty strong to keep him. I do think a lost part in this discussion is Casemiro's choice. He has a choice. He might want to do something else. His family might want to move, and we often forget that as players. So that's something to take into consideration. But it's a risk. Okay, go get Elliot Anderson for 100 million. Go get Baleba for 100 million. Go get Tonali for 100 million. Okay, they might be good. Casemiro might fall off a cliff next year, or he might be fantastic again next year. You never really know. But the evidence we have, you'd say keep Casemiro.
Yeah, this is what my thoughts on it is, and I agree with you, Tom. I think keep him, but who better for someone to learn off than a guy that has won 5 Champions Leagues at Real Madrid playing the number 6 role? Like, there is no one that's accomplished that, Nelly, in world football ever. To win 5 Champions Leagues in, 7 years? That's the.
Do you think, though, Jordan,
or
anyone answer this, but do you think, and here I am saying he's leaving, okay, he's announced it, Manchester's not going to move on. Casemiro might even want to leave and move on for his family and to pursue something new. He scores a couple more goals this year where we finish on a high in regards to Champions League qualification, and Bruno Fernandes is loving life, Casemiro is loving life. Here I am, I'm saying he's going. Yes, he's announced it, and the feeling is no one's going to change their mind on a situation like that. I just feel, we've heard Rafael Varane talk about he celebrated the League Cup at Manchester United harder than he did the Champions League at Real Madrid. And you look what Casemiro has done at Real Madrid, yet he celebrates a corner or winning a throw-in at Old Trafford, like as a Champions League. There is something about Casemiro and Varane, etc. There's something about Manchester United. And there's something in the back of my mind with Casemiro. It just wouldn't shock me if there's a little bit of a U-turn there. And again, a lot of it comes down to the discussion I had last week about Bruno Fernandes in regards to where's he going to rank. He needs that Premier League title. If Bruno Fernandes can smell that, and okay, it's close to him, and let's stay on. I think I can win it in a year or two's time. If Casemiro can also potentially sense, if we get these 1 or 2 players, I think it can be an opportunity. I do sense him at least considering a huge U-turn, which would be huge. It would change Manchester United's plans. Now, should Manchester United scupper those plans, or should Man United stay on track? And regardless of Casemiro's thoughts, we should go on this path because we think this path is the right way. That's obviously a discussion to have. But I just have a feeling if this season continues this way until the end, there is a slight chance he could change his mind just for simply the love that fans have for him, and he seems to reciprocate back.
You make a great point there.
You put in perspective, I guess, of his form's been undeniable. I guess the reason why the club is probably letting him go is to reduce the wage bill quite considerably. Now, if you're his way, I mean, he'd sign a new contract, right? I'd hope that he'd sign a contract at a pay cut to stay. If not, there's Champions League increases and stuff that will happen to the whole team next year.
Yeah.
We've got, I guess, there's the club 100% of making this decision based on the dollars and cents. I'd love to see him stay, but from a wage perspective,
do we think that though with the club? And I don't disagree, but the dialogue I've heard so far, and just like the way I view the situation, is Casemiro is out of contract, and it's kind of his decision. Now, obviously, he's talking to the club, and then they could sort of give a hint at what they're thinking, and that could obviously influence his decision. But do you think, now I agree, the club needs to, they're looking at that wage and, okay, let's get that wage off, let's look somewhere else. I do probably agree that that's the thinking, but do we really think, I think there is also a world where the club would be happy to offer him a contract, albeit at the right terms, considering the increase in Champions League money. But I don't think it's as cut and dry as just trying to get rid of Casemiro and both parties come to that agreement. I do think there is a world where United would potentially put an offer on the table.
Yeah.
I think you're stupid.
I think Maguire's in the same. Maguire's situation's in the same boat as well, right? The only difference is that there I've read, that's not decided yet, but I've read that Harry Maguire is more than happy to take a reduction in pay to sign a year plus a year new contract. And I hope we get that one sorted sooner rather than later as well.
Yeah. I've got a few comments here. I'm going to get through them. TikTok's going off here. And same with Yoni's in the chat. Welcome, Yoni. He goes 7 goals all up for Casemiro's. His highest tally in the league campaign. What do you call it? His run to it was great. Went all around the players from the back post to the front. Yeah, it was a great goal. I've got, let me just read this. Yeah. I've got Dan Davenport here. I think Man United are making mistakes not renewing Casemiro's contract. And Yoni down here, does Maguire have a year we can extend as well? I don't think so. I think, is that? No, I don't think there's an extension on that. I've got in the TikTok as well. I've got to thank, now this is a bit of a hell of a name here. Petty Dan 50 Cent Jr. He's given us some prizes as well, 20 TikTok logos. So he's been smashing it out. He's got some couple of things here. He said Jimmy doesn't want to increase Casemiro's pay to keep him. Look, the thing with Casemiro, and I sort of tend to agree with Jordan, is even if we do keep him, you can teach a player so much, right? And a player can, but positionally they could probably teach him, but mentality is everything in the game. Mentally, it's huge. He can be there and he can talk to players and everything like that and tell them what they need to do. But it's that instinct mentality that triggers everything for Casemiro. I'm a firm believer, and I do it with a lot of kids around like the futsal scene and outdoor scene. They come to me because I actually talk mentality to a lot of kids, and I always talk to them about one of the easiest ways to trigger something mentality is have something written on your wrist. And every time you look down, it's just reminding you all the time, especially in the amateur and the rep scene for younger kids. Just put something on your wrist to remind you that you need to do that. And in the last national series, I had a young girl. She was struggling to remember things that coaches were saying and stuff like that. She started writing it down on her wrist. For me, ended up being nearly player of the tournament.
Tom made a great point before. Sorry to cut you off, Adam. He said Casemiro celebrates corners, free kicks, throw-ins like he's won the League Cup. That's because he's a born winner. Doesn't matter what he's doing. I just say Cristiano Ronaldo's the exact same. It doesn't matter what they're playing in. It could be a five-a-side game. It could be a free kick challenge. It could be a sprint. They want to win, and they'll celebrate.
That's almost
every
why
win.
I've And I'm guilty of this. I fall in love with far too many players far too quickly. But with Casemiro, I had so many doubts and questions when he did sign. I thought, look, I like him as a player. I think, of course, how can you not from anyone in that Real Madrid setup? But I was thinking, God, we just lost 4-0 to Brentford. We're going to be desperate here. We're going to throw all this money at him. Why is he just here for the money? And I doubted him. And then he proved me wrong very quickly. And fair play to him, because we've seen players burn us before. But I think he has been great. And if he is to leave, which the money would suggest he is going to leave in a couple of weeks' time, well, probably not a club legend, but he goes with the best wishes and he'll be fondly remembered. And ultimately he scored a pretty much, not the winner, but I don't know how you define one goal in a 2-0 win, but the cup final winner at Wembley for Manchester United. So he goes down as, look, it was a good business. The business people will probably say no. In regards to he's going to leave for nothing. A really good debate in regards to the football finance scene. The business of Casemiro, regardless of the feeling around him at the moment, still should be seen as a bad bit of business, considering all that money invested. We've won a League Cup and FA Cup and he leaves for nothing. Now, I don't agree with that. I think football's far more you need to apply far more context to it. But that's where a United, I think Gary Neville made the point, would Man United lose Casemiro now and go sign another Casemiro? No, I think they would look, and this is not to say it's the right thing to do, but they would go and get Tonali, or they would go and get Elliot Anderson, who's 10 years younger, or 7 or 8 years younger, and go down that. I'm not saying that's the right or the wrong path, but I think adding all the context to Casemiro's time at Man United, I think he has been very good, if not great.
Yeah. It'd
be interesting just to see, I guess, what the transfer market happens like in the off season, because I guess Casemiro is probably a player that a Saudi club would be attracted to, right? And I guess in turn, Casemiro will probably be attracted with the pay packet that would come with an offer like that. But I guess it'd be interesting to see sort of what's happening in the Middle East at the moment, how that's going to impact maybe the Saudi transfer market and bits and pieces, and maybe you might see some players do some U-turns. If that was a plan for them after this season. So interested to see how that pans out.
I've got Pluck-Off here. I've got Pluck-Off here. He's saying if we do keep Casemiro for that one more season, we still need two midfielders or even 3. Which I totally agree. For me, I'm happy for him to move on. I really am. I'm happy for him to move on. I think we need our players, but we still do need leaders in the team. That's a big thing. What else have we got here? Because Amarin wouldn't let him play. Yeah. All right. Yeah, so for me, I'm happy to see him go. I think he's done well at Manchester United. I think he's been a great player for us. And for me, especially because when I saw him in Malaysia, I was lucky enough to catch up with Casemiro, mate, and he looked dead and buried, man. He looked so tired after last season, and I even said it to him. I said, mate, you look knackered, and he goes, mate, I'm done. Seriously, that's what he said. I'm done. He just looked like a bloke that needed a holiday. And
I think that is the fear. That is the fear, and that's the reality behind the conversation. We're all sitting here like agreeing there's the possibility of a bright future for Casemiro next year. Keep him and all the benefits that come with that. There's a very real possibility that he does but that he does fall off a cliff next season. And we're thinking, come December next season, we're thinking, why the hell did we give Casemiro another contract? He was out the door.
And you can see it, Tom, can't you? You can dead set see it. Straight off the back of it, you just see United fans just ripping shreds off him if he's not going to the World Cup. It's happened before.
I assume he's Brazil. He's going to be there. So, no real pre-season. Just maybe begrudgingly, maybe it is the right decision to both parties go their separate ways.
Look, as fans, we're selfish, and we want a good player to stay all the time. And as much as I would love Casemiro to stay and probably be 5 years younger or whatever, he needs to just move on. It's been a pleasure watching him this season and over the past few years, and you can see he wants to give the fans everything. He's kissing the badge. He's doing all the right things. He's getting the United supporters all in his corner. He's going. He's not staying. You can just see it. Anyway, I want to move on to Bruno Fernandes. I want to finish the pod. We've gone at 1 hour, 10 minutes as usual. We just keep talking. I want to move on to Bruno Fernandes. Mate, this guy is insane. Seriously, the improvement I have seen from this guy since he started to now, he's balanced his game big time. His vision to spot players. I would love to watch Bruno Fernandes play. Well, I've watched him a few times play, but I've always been nearly at head level. I would love to watch him from high up. Actually, I did watch him from high up one game. But I would love to just watch him. Elliot, you've got the perfect ticket for it, to watch his vision across that pitch, because some of these passes he puts in, they're just like, they're next level.
The word you use there, Adam, is what sums this up. I wouldn't say this purple patch of form, but this current Bruno Fernandes we're seeing, you talk about improvement. I wouldn't say there's been of course there has been improvement, and he's developed and he's matured as a player. But I think it's simply just that balance to his game. He's starting to look like he's adding, because I think you go back to his first season, he's scoring how many goals? Yeah, he's scoring goals. So I wouldn't really, I don't know, you're not doing this, but I wouldn't really define it as him improving now. I just think it's becoming a little bit more well-rounded. And is he a 10? Is he an 8? Is he a 6? I think he's just everything now. He's just a midfielder. He's not that specific.
Interesting to, I guess, if this flows into Portugal's World Cup, massive, could be massive. Yeah,
they're always going to be in with a shout if they play well.
Especially with Ronaldo finishing at the end of finishing at international level after this, it's written in the stars a bit, and I think that he plays pretty much that same style of position for the national team, doesn't he, as well? So.
It's the thing with like Bruno. It's like you were just saying there, Tom, and it's funny. Awesome's made a great comment on here. Bruno is his own world, running his own show, and it's such a true statement. Like, he's there, you can see him. He's putting players into position. He's constantly talking to players. Even when Šeško came off the bench on the weekend, he was talking to Bruno. Okay, Carrick's probably told him how to play, and there was an image of Šeško talking to Bruno, and I think Bruno was actually questioning Carrick what he was saying. It wasn't like, yeah, we need to do it. That it was like he sort of didn't understand what was going on, and then the camera went back to him, and he was showing his fingers. Do you want the 2? Everything like that, and then it all of a sudden started coming back together, and it's just like, it's just a pleasure to watch. I think at the moment we're very lucky. And I've never spoken about Bruno like this. I think we're very lucky to have a player like Bruno in our squad at the moment that we can enjoy and watch him, move on to just that, level.
We've got the best number 10 in the world in our team. It's not even close.
The topical, I guess the debate that's quite topical at the moment is, does he win the PFA Player of the Year?
That is the question.
Pardon?
I said
it's hard,
that is the question.
It's hard to argue. Like, it'll go to an Arsenal player. It will. Look, if you wanted to have a genuine discussion, I think he's well within a shout. He's well within, in regards to who's been the best player. It's not, now obviously you can define player as contributing to success, and then you do have to take into consideration the Premier League title, of course. But in regards to quality on a football pitch, no Arsenal player has performed or provided the quality on the pitch as Bruno Fernandes. Simply hasn't. That's not a critic. They don't need that. They've got other ways to win games, and that's going to reward them with a Premier League title. Fair play to them. But in regards to the quality of footballer, Bruno Fernandes, he simply has been that. He just has. Now, so I've just convinced myself, yes, he's going to win PFA Player of the Year. Now, the weird thing is, which is fucking crazy, and I don't have the specifics in front of me, the PFA Player of the Year has been voted. That's been done. That gets done in like January or February, which is fucking crazy. It gets done. It kills me every year how that is the case. And so many years you think, how didn't this guy win it? Because he ended up winning the league for this person, but it is done months in advance.
He's on the verge of breaking the all-time Premier League assist tally in a
He's
season.
in the top 3 assists for Manchester United now.
Yeah,
Top 3.
yeah.
He's absolutely mental.
He's just, it's the most assists in the Premier League by a United player that he's just reached. He's 4 assists off equaling on, is it 3 or 4 assists off equaling Henry's all-time assists in a season?
I have got one thing here. I put it up before. Most assists after playing 30 matches in a Premier League season. Ozil 18, Salah 17, Bruno Fernandes 16, De Bruyne 16, Fabregas 16, Lampard 16. Have a look at those names, man. Look at the names in that list.
I forgot about
It's just
Ozil.
it's crazy, these names. Fucking Ozil.
Crazy
Pizza
the way
Gate,
you
mate.
pronounce that too.
or Ozil, however you want to
Mazut.
spell it, say it, mate. I couldn't give a shit.
To be fair,
But
that
look
year
at
that
those
he
names.
got those assists and they had Olivier Giroud up front, he was doing flicks around the corner for assists. He was fucking great to watch. But yeah, I agree. That's a ridiculous stat.
Salah's season last season was, it's hard to top as well, with his goal tally and his assist tally as well. He was a freak last year. Yeah, so Henry's total assists in the season is 20. So I think if Bruno hits 21, but it frustrates me, Tom, that they decided to PFA in January. I didn't know that.
I actually knew that when Tom was saying that. Mate, I have comments everywhere here. I've got screens here. Mate, I can't keep up with the comments, so I apologise to anyone on TikTok. I am actually reading it, but there's just so much going on right now. He's got a bit of a stat here for that PFA. He said something like 40% of PFA winners have come from a team who hasn't won the league.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I would like to see how many of the Player of the Years have gone to the Golden Boot winner. Because I feel like players like Harry Kane would have won it a couple of times when he scored 25, 26, 27 goals in the season. Like, do you know what I mean? There would have been.
I think it's also, again, I'm not sure. I think Yanni's put in the chat as well in regards to the percentages of how it is voted and the weight of managers or players, whoever sort of puts their 2 cents in for the vote, how it exactly works. We all discuss it. We say, oh, he had this performance, he was better than him. I think the players voting, they don't care like we do. They'll just say, yeah, the top scorer, yeah, okay, it was him. Like that, I don't think they're putting much thought into as much as we do in regards to that. They'll say, who's Arsenal's top scorer? Who's Arsenal? Oh, Declan. Yeah, it was hard to play against Declan Rice. So, yeah, they won the title. Okay, Declan Rice.
I've got here. Yanni's put another one here. He said the voting period, players vote in early spring, April, based on season performance.
Yeah, that's later than I thought. I'm not about his judgment there, but yeah, that's still early for me. What if someone goes and scores 2 bicycles on the last 2 days of the Premier League season to win a title? Something that's going to swing my vote. I think it needs to encompass.
Give it to Bruno still. Fuck it.
It might be Bruno who does it if Arsenal start to fall off.
Telling you, we're coming. I just think everyone's been giving praise to Bruno this last 10 or so games. He's playing the number 10. He's playing in the 3-man midfield. Does wonders for that type of player. For a player that just has the freedom to play. This is why he struggled as an 8 with Casemiro as a 6. Because he has the freedom to go and play and you're not left isolated in the middle of the park. And
that makes it even more better, Jordan. Like, he was basically playing as a defensive midfielder under Amarin. Basically a defensive midfielder under Amarin. And what do you call it? And he's come out with these stats are just absolutely mad. And the funny thing, I don't know if any of you saw the interview that he had. That the interviewer was there asking him what he thinks and everything like that, and how his mentality works. And he goes, "Mate, I just do a lot of scanning." He said, "I scan the pitch a lot, and I try and put players in positions before it even happens." And that's one of that's what I was saying before. I would love to be at Old Trafford or anywhere around the world to watch Bruno and just watch him put players in position, especially when he's in this type of form. I've watched him live over the last couple of years, but in this type of form where he's at his peak, and you know he's directing players around, and you get to sit high and you get to watch exactly how he's thinking, like mentality-wise. You just can't teach it. You just can't. You
Jordan
can't
mentioned
teach
it
it.
earlier.
You got
Jordan
the
mentioned
hairs
the
standing
past.
up on my arms.
Oh, mate, I'm the same. Yeah.
You got the hairs standing up on my arms, just thinking about going to Old Trafford this year and watching that.
Yeah.
But the view at Old Trafford was the goal Jordan mentioned there, the Bruno Cunha's goal. Sorry, the pass by Bruno Fernandes. It is such a not disrespected or such a simple pass. Yet the only player who's going to do that. Like that's the beauty of it. It was just the timing of the pass. Obviously, you have to give Cunha credit for the run and the angle of the run, but the simplicity and ease which Bruno Fernandes did, which is quite like the execution of that is quite easy, but the thinking, the vision, and the timing to do that was just like there'll be other assists which get assists this season. Bruno might have 2 or 3 that are even better than that. Who knows? Someone could rattle them off, but that goal was just. He saw that he saw that pass 10 seconds before the ball came to him, and I just thought that is the sign of someone of that ability.
Oh, he's the smartest footballer in the league, in my opinion. That might be a big call, but I think even
it's a big call. Like,
even off the ball, though,
I wouldn't say the bar's too high.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. Off the ball, though, like you see, as soon as we win the ball in a transition, he's always available. Like he's always available to pick the ball up, especially from an attacking midfielder standpoint. On like, he understands if we win the next ball in this phase, I can pick it up here. So let me go stand there. And he's already there, just in case. And then he's already got the attack going. He just.
What's what Adam said there in regards to Casemiro and his desire to go and get on the end of the ball to go win that header to get a goal with Bruno Fernandes. And I'm sure we've all played like this in whatever sport, especially football. When you're frustrated, okay, the clock's ticking down, you get the ball, your first instinct, wherever you are, even if you're in your own corner flag, how can I score? How can this next pass lead to a goal? And that sometimes adds to frustration around Bruno Fernandes, the way he plays. But just in regards to appraising the mentality of Casemiro, the same thing, maybe we view it a little bit differently, but pretty much the same thing with Bruno Fernandes, that simply, I'm going to get the ball. How can I make Manchester United score a goal and win when I get the ball? It's not always going to happen, of course.
But just that mindset, number 9 for him.
Just that mindset of get the ball, okay, can we score? Yeah. And that is ultimately at its core. You look at sort of the players who've grown up loving at Manchester United, they've always sort of shared that, a little bit of that in their game.
But you think about what you just said there, Tom, and then you think about being the striker. He's thinking about how we can score, and all you've got to think about is, how can I score? How can Bruno get me the ball? Because he will find you. And you just, if we had Harry Kane up front, he'd have 40, 50 assists in the season. I can tell you that now.
Yeah. I've got friggin' some brilliant calls in here. I've got one here from Blocks, who joins us regularly. So thank you, mate, for joining us again. Bruno will go on to be a manager. He has a football brain and has a deep knowledge of opponents' teams / players. And I've got one here from Fabrizio Romano 123. Thank you, Fabrizio, for finally joining us. Roy Keane is the most overrated player of all time.
Yeah, you can block him.
The reason he needs to be blocked there, and that opinion is wrong, is simply a lot of us, I know it's tongue-in-cheek sort of thing, but Roy Keane does get disrespected as a footballer in regards to, okay, he was just a captain, he was just a leader, he was just a shouter, he was just a bit of a thug, he was a bit of an enforcer. He gave the ball to better players. We all often go back to that during match of 99. I'm sure everyone has sort of watched it on repeat, and we look at the performance, and it's very well known. Even if people haven't watched the match, they say, yep, that was Roy Keane's best performance, even without watching it. It's just sort of known. But the thing about that performance, you talk about the goal, or you talk about him playing on a yellow card, or knowing that he's not going to play in the final. You look at, okay, he was given man of the match in that performance. Okay, that's one thing. You go look at that Juventus team. Go look at the footballers on that pitch. You had Antonio Conte, Zidane, Del Piero, Didier Deschamps, Edgar Davids, all these players. Well, if the other guy on the other side was the best player on the field, you had to have something about him to be better than those players. So that goes.
Couldn't have said it better if
ability
you
to-
tried there, Tom. I think
Oh,
that's
well,
the
I've
most
got-
undervalued thing is when a footballer, say like Roy Keane, people want to sit there and put a Patrick Vieira on a pedestal, Frank Lampard, Cesc Fabregas. Roy Keane got man of the matches against these players consistently.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he just did it once or twice. Like, he was the best player on the field consistently. And you think, yeah, exactly what you said. You got to have something about you if you're doing that.
That's why I pulled that comment up. One of the dumbest comments ever seen. And I've got Pluck Off in the comments. He goes, Fabrizio needs to take notice of my username and do it. Pluck Off.
I like him now. He's funny. Get him on.
Mate, he's a great guy. Pluck Off is a great guy. We've had some really good chats. All right, boys, we might wind it up there. And, mate, we've gone 1 hour, 25 minutes. And, mate, it's been a great chat. We've been happy right through the pod. We've picked the brains out of it. And anyone that's joined us new on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, and I know a few people wanted to join our pod tonight, but we try and keep it to 4 people, and we're not doing it live through TikTok. We actually do it live through a different studio, and we try and keep it to 4 people because we can all have a decent opinion then. And I want to thank everyone for all the comments, mate. Loads of comments coming through everywhere. Thank you for all the prizes and all the likes and everything like that. And Pluck Off, as usual, awesome as well. And anyone else I've missed there, we'll catch up through the week on TikTok, and we'll go. United kicks off 7 a.m. here on Saturday, so it's a great time for us. We'll probably go live and do some stuff and get a few people in the chat. And I want to thank Elliot. I want to thank Jordan. I want to thank Tom. Great work on the weekend, Mark, and yourself, Tom, with the charity game for Wazza and everything like that. I think we must have helped him out, raised like a couple of grand or something like that, which was fantastic.
Awesome,
guys. So it was great, and it was a very good game on the weekend. Tom scored a penalty. If you haven't looked up Tom going, he scored a nice penalty.
To be fair to Wazza, he's a good little player, isn't he?
Mate, he can play well, yeah, very well.
Player.
Yeah, it was good.
Hang on a minute. We didn't hear Tom scored a goal.
Yeah.
I didn't. What was the celebration?
Tom's like, nah, he doesn't celebrate. He takes it in stride.
If we want to talk about assists, it was a 6-6 draw. Yeah. I'm not sure if I got 5 or 4. It was 4 or 5 assists. I'm not sure what it was.
Oh, now he's bragging. Hang on.
I saved my goal for the penalty shootout.
Tom, and we had, and I will put his name in there, Nick Craren, Paddy Craren's grandson. He missed a penalty, so we're going to hold him to that. And we did send the video to his father and his grandfather. And we had a great time on the weekend. Yeah. Nick was very good. He was a very good. He loved that little outside flick, didn't he? Yeah. He was a very good player. Yeah, it was very good. So, all right, boys. Thank you, everyone, on all the socials and everything like that. We'll talk to you later. See you later. Check yous.
Thanks, boys.
Cantona. Gary Neville looking for his first goal for Manchester